Welcome to US-based news channel. Ukrainian armed forces carried out major operations on the southern front. Mutual attacks increased again in the region leading to Crimea. Explosion sounds echoed from the left bank of the Dnieper. Critical intense conflicts in the regions continue. Russia lost record levels during the day. Largest number of Russian soldiers in recent times has been neutralized. Russian military equipment was destroyed one after another. Unsuccessful attack attempts of Russian soldiers in the regions are increasing. After the meeting of the Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov and the German Defense Minister, important statements were made. Remarkable statements about the German Leopard tanks, one of the best tanks, were included. In these days when the war has become critical, it is now known that every move determines the fate of armies and countries. For these reasons, the operations on the most important fronts are increasing day by day. In fact, in Kherson in the south, operations actually stopped. As a reminder, the Ukrainian troops drove the Russian soldiers away with their superiority in the region. Then, with the notification from Russia, his troops were withdrawn and Kherson was taken back by the Ukrainian army. However, due to the fact that this region is located on the border of Crimea, moves towards Crimea began to increase after a while. This situation caused the Russian army to start attacks again despite the heavy losses in the region. Russia also showed that it was panicked with this move. On top of all this, the Ukrainian army started to increase its attacks by gathering strength in the region again. According to the latest news, the Ukrainian armed forces carried out successive attacks on Russian military points on the Kherson front. These attacks were carried out at night and many Russian military points were targeted. Moreover, it has been reported that these attacks were carried out using artillery systems. It was announced that Russian military points were damaged in Novaya Kakhovka and 10 more regions. After the damaged points in the regions, the Russian army panicked. Moreover, it has been reported that explosions have occurred in many regions on the left bank of the Dnieper, which is right next to it. It was stated that Russian military points and infrastructures were damaged in these regions as well. Damage to the military infrastructures interrupts the communication between the Russian soldiers on the fronts and the commanders stationed at the bases. This will cause the Russian soldiers, who will be quite inadequate as a result of a possible big attack, not knowing where to go and what to do. Side that dominates this region on the border of Crimea will gain a great advantage. For these reasons, it is thought that mutual attacks in this region will not end until the end of the war. It has been almost a year in the war on Ukrainian soil, but the war still continues. While the mutual attacks of both countries continue, each day the war continues causes more losses for both countries. Ukraine continues to report the latest losses of the Russian Federation. General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported the latest casualties of Russian forces. Ukrainian forces destroyed 1 artillery system, 14 tanks, 28 armored combat vehicles, 3 vehicles and tankers of the Russian troops. After the explosion sounds from the regions, the flames were seen to rise. Ukraine also announced that it neutralized 1030 Russian soldiers in just one day. It is estimated that around 133,200 Russian soldiers have been neutralized since the start of the war in February. Fact that the loss of soldiers this time exceeded 1,000 increased the concerns on the Moscow side. Losing such a record number of soldiers after a long time, Russia may now have to find different solutions in the war. Otherwise, there will be no soldiers left to fight. As it is known, Russia had tried to compensate for this number of soldiers by declaring mobilization before. However, he could not achieve success in this regard, and the untrained soldiers he sent to the front where intense conflicts took place began to be neutralized quickly. In other words, the Kremlin's move, which was put forward as a solution, actually caused the increase in losses for itself the most. For these reasons, if such a move is made on behalf of Russia in the future, the losses will be too great to be compensated. Bombardments between the Russian Federation and Ukraine continue. Latest attacks on Ukrainian soil have been announced. It was reported that Russian troops carried out attacks on various regions in the territory of Ukraine. It was announced that the Russian forces carried out 1 missile and 16 airstrikes during the day, and also carried out 14 attacks using multiple launch rocket systems. It was reported that Russia attacked more than 30 points in the Lyman and Kupiansk regions. In addition, it was reported that attacks with mortars, tanks, and artillery were carried out at 10 points in Avdiivka and Novopavlivka regions. More than 20 points were attacked in the Zaporizhzhia region and 17 points in the Kherson region. Aviation of Ukrainian forces also attacked areas where Russian forces were concentrated during the day. It was announced that the Ukrainian Air Force launched 7 attacks on the points where the Russian troops and military equipment are concentrated, and 2 attacks on the points where the Russian anti-aircraft missile systems are located. Ukrainian forces also reportedly destroyed a Russian attack aircraft Su-25 and an Orlan drone during the day. Each of these losses greatly reduces Russia's power in land and air operations. For these reasons, any destruction is of critical importance for the Russian army. On the other hand, Ukraine is gradually reaching the artillery equipment it has wanted for a long time. Ukraine has been saying that it wants Leopard 2 tanks for a long time. Germany's decision on this issue was awaited. New decisions have been announced from Germany. He met with Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov and German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius. Pistorius visited Kiev. Photographs of Pistorius handing over a model of a Leopard 2 tank to his counterpart Reznikov were also released. Reznikov stated that this is the first Leopard 2 and there will be more to come. Reznikov made remarkable statements after the meeting. It is stated that the German government has already decided in advance to supply the Leopard 1 tanks to Ukraine, and by summer 20 to 25 tanks, by the end of the year about 80, and by 2024 over 100 Leopard 1 tanks will be Ukraine's. In addition, it was reported that the delivery of the Leopard 2A6 battle tank for Ukraine will not be forgotten. At the same time, it was announced that a group of Ukrainian forces were sent abroad to learn the management and maintenance of German-made Leopard 2 tanks, which Ukraine will purchase from a number of its allies. It was also reported that the German defense minister was impressed by the learning speed of the Ukrainian forces. In addition, Germany also announced when the delivery of the Leopard 2A6 battle tanks would take place. German Defense Ministry said in a statement that Pistorius met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his Ukrainian counterpart Oleksiy Reznikov during the day. At the same time, it was announced that the Leopard 2A6 main battle tanks will be ready at the end of March. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius also made statements within Russia in an interview. Pistorius stated that he believes the world would be a better place without President Putin of the Russian Federation. Pistorius also declared that Russia's repeated nuclear weapons threats should not prevent military support to Ukraine. It was stated that Ukraine's success should be appreciated and Germany's full support will be for Ukraine. Although there is no margin of error for both sides, it is known that Russia cannot even make up for its mistakes. This shows that every move in the course of the war is very effective in determining the fate of countries. In the coming days, the side that advances in the right direction will gain a great advantage. Other side will find it very difficult to make up for the mistakes. All operations carried out on the front will now be of much more critical importance. For these reasons, it has become imperative that all moves are strategically and carefully thought through. In these days when the violence of the war has increased considerably, the methods applied as well as the decisions made will be of critical importance. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.